Hey guys, Bobby Epstein and Ashley Manzi from Ziegler, Zemsky and Resnick, coming to you from our homes today to talk to you about some of the experiences that we've been having with the ongoing pandemic and how it's impacted upon our practice, our clients, and our ability to move cases through the court system, and really what is a very extraordinary time in our lives. And really, we just wanted to talk for a few minutes as to some of what we've been going through. So the first question I wanted to ask of Ashley is, what have you noticed with respect to the ability to have judges hear your cases while this is going on?
So I think, we're in week 5 now, I think, although I've lost track of days.
I
And
blacked out 3 weeks ago. So.
I don't even know what season we're in, candidly, in light of the sunshine and the freezing cold from day to day. But week 5, I think the first week or two, everyone was sort of a deer in headlights. We were in shock. Nobody really knew what was going to happen. So a lot of things that were on the calendar maybe got pushed, sort of got held in abeyance. But since then, it's been my experience that the courts have really moved pretty quickly to adapt, to figure out how to accommodate lawyers, how to accommodate litigants. And certainly to the extent that they're available, the judges have been incredibly helpful, honestly, in hearing things both telephonically and even via Zoom. I've done a few case management conferences now virtually, which I found to be helpful, at least in setting deadlines, establishing next steps. I've done multiple phone calls with judges to both deal with substance and issues that we need immediate relief on, but also to deal with upcoming deadlines and either proceeding with mediation or what we need to do to make the case move forward. So candidly, it's been a pleasant surprise to see what the courts have been able to do in the last few weeks. I personally, I was surprised, but I'm glad, and I'm glad that we're able to still assist and help our clients move their cases forward with the courts being as active as they are. Are you having the same experience, or what do you think?
Two of the things that I've been impressed by were, one, a domestic violence hearing that a judge was prepared to start, where the judge was in his robe. We were all on Zoom. We were all prepared to start. Litigants, counsel, it was running smoothly. We ended up resolving it, but I believe that it could have went off. Certainly there's questions that would have arisen as to, evidence, presenting exhibits, credibility of witnesses. That all gets impacted.
Everybody on the same screen?
What's that?
You just had everybody on the same screen?
There was lots of little boxes in all different corners, and the judge kept moving depending on the breaks we would take. And eventually it worked out, and we ended up resolving it. I had an oral argument on a motion last week. That was my first one. It was a regular motion. It had nothing to do with anything of an emergent nature. It just happened to be a regular pending motion that the judge heard in the normal course, and it really went very smoothly. The judge was at her home. It just happened to be that both attorneys were at their offices. The litigants were also on Zoom, and it was, in a way, it was almost as if we were there in person. It also almost made the lawyers have to restrain themselves a little bit more than maybe normal, because we can't just talk over each other.
And being recorded.
And being recorded and everything in between. And if that's how things are going to happen while this continues to go on for who knows how long, then, it gives you a level of confidence that you could tell a client that there is remedies and sort of, ways to have their cases addressed and justice to be done, and everything that you want to be able to tell your clients in the normal course. What have you seen about, how about mediations?
I've done quite a few mediations now, on like virtual programs, a few different platforms. And I was initially skeptical about that too, but they turned out to be pretty efficient. The mediators were able to use breakout rooms. So it was almost as if we were in person. Everyone started together. The mediator would sort of go through the parameters and the protocol for going through the mediation process. And then in all of them, actually, the mediators were able to break us out so that I was in a separate screen with my client. The other attorney and the other client were on a separate screen that we couldn't access or see. And then the mediator sort of popped back and forth. So, and I settled 2 cases using virtual mediation, which, I would have never guessed, if you asked me even 6 weeks ago, if that would have been realistic. So
I found it to be incredible. Maybe I'm out of my mind, but wouldn't be the first time, but I find them to be incredibly efficient. And I don't know if it's because people feel, whether it's the lawyers or the parties, feel compelled to really focus and get to work on trying to get a case moving, or the limitations of as opposed to being in person, or the fact that everything is going on around us and they really want to move their case forward as fast as possible. I have found the mediations that I've done so far to be really very positive. And every mediator has been able to figure out the technology, some better than others, but really, I haven't experienced any legitimate problems of any kind. It's been very positive so far.
I think that's important because I think even though the court systems are up, they are running, they, even without a global pandemic, right? They're backlogged, they're inundated, they're overwhelmed. So
We got electronic filing now, though.
I know, which is huge.
Big development.
Which is huge in the family law world, at least. Everyone else in the legal field is kind of like what took us so long. But I think it's good to know that mediations are being conducted and being done so efficiently and effectively. And I have certainly been continuing to recommend mediation to clients even before we file a complaint to see what we can resolve in advance, just realistically to limit the need for the court interference, but knowing that we have it available to us if we need it.
One thing that I've noticed, and I don't know if you've seen this, but where mediation might not be resolving a case, there does seem to then be some sort of delay or almost like a purgatory, because we can't really have, from what I've seen so far, intensive settlement conferences with judges. Obviously, trial dates are being pushed out to who knows how long. I have not yet seen any judges conducting divorce trials on Zoom. I don't know if they will or if anybody else has had that. What have you seen with that?
No, I don't think that I haven't seen anybody schedule a trial in the near future. I've certainly had a few trials put off. And I agree that you're sort of in this purgatory is a good phrase for it, but I think candidly you're there a lot anyway, because even absent what we're in right now, the pandemic and whatnot, I think you're kind of there sometimes in limbo when you can't settle at mediation and you're awaiting an ISC date or whatever the next step may be. So I don't think that's particularly out of the ordinary. I also think in general, clients are going through this too, right? And they want some sense of security, some sense of stability to know what their futures are going to look like. So in mediation, they're the masters of their own destiny and they get to be in control and pick an outcome that makes the most sense for them.
Where do you think in the next couple of months where this heads us in terms of practice? And do you see any changes in the future of our practice because of everything that we've been doing now with the technology? Do you foresee more regular use of Zoom even when everything is back to normal, quote unquote, or anything of that sort?
Eventually, maybe, yes. I mean, I can tell you judges have said to me, when we have cases that have voluminous files, they're not prepared to deal with the paper that exists already, right? So moving forward, maybe because we're using electronic filing going forward, we may be able to have a more efficient virtual experience. But I don't think for the cases that are already in existence and the thousands and thousands that are in backlog that it's going to be incredibly expeditious. I wore jeans to my Zoom court appearance last week, and I kept joking. I'm like, I got really dressed up today for everyone, and I just want you to all be thankful. I mean, I put on makeup for you today.
I continue to wear full suits when I'm with a judge, which it's almost like a mindset. You have to be in that mindset. If I'm about to do an oral argument, I had an argument with the appellate division, which was on the phone as opposed to video. 2 with judges where I was in a full suit. Every mediation is pretty much collared shirt, because at the end of the day, you still want to maintain some sort of professionalism.
Of course, although I will tell you that
I've seen too many T-shirts from adversaries in the past 3 weeks on mediation that I'm sort of stunned by. Whatever, to each their own, but I don't need baseball caps and T-shirts.
You're not there yet. You're not there yet. I've had my 4-year-old has appeared in at least every mediation that I've had so far. Right. There's some things we can't control, Bobby.
Right. That's right. I usually wait for my children to be long gone outside playing sports, on video games, to make sure they stay as far away as possible.
Or you just lock yourself in your white padded room and
pretty much what this is. This is my sanctuary in the basement.
And then you can't be bothered.
That's right.
Well, I'm
So
glad
this
to
was
hear we're
great.
having good, positive experiences.
And this was great, and look forward to doing more of these in coming weeks, especially as we try to outreach to the audience at large and people out there who are looking for answers, looking for help, and we are always there for you.
Yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us individually, email us, call us, anything we can do. And if you're lucky, you'll get Bobby back on screen in that white padded room sooner than later.
That's right.
Bye.
Take care.